know people who should be successful, but what? They're not successful. Why?
So that's his why buy. But what is he afraid of?
My personal style of education, but still entertain them, bring them along with stories, right?
Who do we want to learn from? People who are what? Killing it. If you're a real man, what do? I'm not the only one.
You can't wait to tell your spouse. You can't wait to tell your colleague. You can't wait to go to work and tell somebody. And you're like, oh my God, I can't wait. So what happened?
If you haven't seen my TV show, you should get cable. That's what you need to do.
From doing a TV show to doing corporate events, I've been so lucky to connect with many passionate entrepreneurs worldwide.
What I've learned from a business perspective.
Because this is the formula for success, no matter who you talk to. Attitude will drive your behavior. Would you agree? And your behavior will drive your consequences every single time.
We got the concept. Okay, we got the concept. We got the equipment, right? We got the brand. You guys got that. And then again, we got the content that we create. That's the easy part. This is the big one, the big C, which is the commitment.
What should you do? That's right. All right. 10Xers. Do not fail me. True test. Here it comes.
There's skill, and then there's will. Listen to what I'm saying. There is skill, and then there is will. And here's the interesting thing. I know a lot of people who have a lot of skill, but have no what? Will, right? You ever look at somebody who's successful, and you say, why them, why not you? Yes, okay, that's me too.
You have more control, but your costs are also going to be what? Higher.
Now, here's where some of the magic is starting to kick in.
You can talk to any CEO in the B2B business, any CEO. You walk into his office and they only care about three things. People too. Yeah, he with the suit, put it up. There you go. I hope you can see this. I'll try to draw big. Let's pretend for a moment that I had 7 territories. You remember I wrote that out? Yes or no? Boom. Territory 2, territory 3, all the way to territory number what? 7. So now I've segmented my market.
So content is going to start being created by machines. And I'm telling you right now that those people, you guys, the content creators that connect with people are the ones that are going to win. Some people think, well, it won't work for my industry. Really? It'll work for any industry. Trust me. The majority of the time when we're looking to fix something, repair something, or learn something, where do we go? YouTube. We don't even want to read anymore. We go to YouTube. Tell me if I'm wrong. Tell me if I'm wrong.
When you're doing your thing, beautiful things begin to happen. It's like the law of attraction kicks in. You know what I mean? It's almost like you're in line with the universe. Everything works. And when you do your thing, everybody gets an automatic MBA, which stands for what? Mega Bank Account Money. Are you with me? So we don't want to do a thing. We want to do a what? Beautiful.
All right, put it all together for Victor Antonio. Here we go.
All right, there we go. I'm not here to mess around. You ready to learn? Yes or no?
That's how it works in today's market. Whether it's B2B or B2C, you see the similar patterns. How do you just, in other words, say you gotta start doing these things, pushing them, but also encouraging them. Oh, look at this. This is where it gets, dude, this is like so interactive with audiences, man. Can you imagine this with your customers? Check this out. Now, what does all this have to do with selling? It has everything to do with selling.
All right, welcome to another Sales After Dark, because money never sleeps. Thank you for joining me. By the way, if you're watching this on the replay, fast forward a few minutes because I'm going to say hi to my friends before we jump in. Then I'll jump into the content, and then I'll do about maybe 10 to 15 minutes of content, and then I'll take some questions from you guys. So, who's on the chat? Let me see if I can advance the board here so I get some people on the board here. Of course, Brian, my man. Happy Thursday, VA. And everyone, hey, VA, your skateboard plus ocean spray plus Fleetwood Mac meme was hilarious. Talk about chilling. Yeah, my wife kind of prompted me to do that, man. She kind of said, yeah, I think you should do that little meme. You know, the guy, I thought, that's a great meme, right? I just found out today, it was an article that they gave that guy a car. I don't know if you heard that, but Ocean Spray actually gave him a new truck, man, which I thought was really cool. Chris Stone, who keeps pushing hard, says, Victor, the IG Live look was fired tonight. That's it. He keeps pushing me to do more of that. I know, Chris. I know. Oh, it's Inkle John, always learning something new. The Value Merchant. Love you here, man. Thank you. Mia Knox, West Coast in the house, Mia. Love it, man. Pete, what's happening again from Ohio? Ready to learn. Do you mind if I ask where you got the black screens in the back from? I just did that Instagram Live, and I revealed where I got them from, Pete. I got them from Bed, Bath, and Beyond. And by the way, the reason they're good is that they actually absorb sound so you don't get that echoey feeling. If you watch my Instagram Live, I show you some sound absorption items I got throughout, right? Even on the wall, I forgot to mention that I got some sound panels that absorb sound. So again, it just really helps. So these from Bed Bath & Beyond are really thick and they absorb sound so you don't get that echoey effect. So now you know my secret. Ida from Malaysia, welcome. Love having you here. Damn it, Gator, you beat me again. Kitchen's looking good. Okay, Lupe Perez, hello from Texas. Hello, Lupe. Glad you're here. Let me got CF Jackson. What's new, Victor? Liked your lamp, smarts, and he has a hobby. I got to do something with the hands, man. ATL in the building. Thank you, CF, for joining. Ahmed Noor. Let me see what you got. I just wanted to say, you know that I really enjoyed the Sam Silverstein episode. Just amazing. Thank you. Always enjoy Sales After Dark. Hashtag Victor, my hero. I've never seen that one. I like that one. Thank you. Yeah. He was a great guest, by the way. Sam Silverstein was a great guest. And so also John Barrows before him. And we got a guy by the name of Dave Shaby from the Rain Group coming up next. And I think that interview for enterprise people is a very important interview. So look out for, again, the Sales Influence Podcast. Sales Influence Podcast. All right, who's next? We got Bob Barnett. Love the topic, Bob. We're going to go in a little bit. We're going to go in there, Bob. You bet, Gator. Let me see. Prestige Tech Solution. Yes. Yes. Okay, good. Love the intro. Give Chris Stone credit for that, man, over at castahead.net, man. I love that thing, man. I'm pumped. Thank you for being here. Ahmed said, Sales After Dark and Thursday Night Football. Lobo G it all the way from Winnipeg, Manitoba, man. Oh, love it, man. That's how you do it, man. You're very welcome, Pete. Like I said, great curtains. Jakarta chiming in. Michael, what's happening? All the way from Indonesia. Rustam Mashkov. Hey, Vic. Hope everyone here is safe. Good to see you, man. Love to have you on here, man, Rustam. So let's jump into it. Let's get into the content. And we're about good. We're about a minute ahead. So what I want to do is I have, and I'm going to go onto the board here so you can see some of this. I have the Sales Velocity Academy. Now, most of you know about my Sales Velocity Academy, right? And in the Sales Velocity Academy, I have a course, and this one's called Business Metrics for Salespeople. And it's one of the courses that, you know, there's not a lot of sales trainers who talk about business metrics because you and I know that in today's market, people have to justify the solutions. Now, I wanted to highlight this course, obviously, so you'll know about it in the Sales Velocity Academy. So again, if you're not a member, go to salesvelocityacademy.com. But here's the important part. Because of this pandemic that we're in, what's happening now, a lot of companies are starting to reduce their costs. And as they're reducing their costs, again, they're trying to figure out ways to save money. So now you're trying to sell them something, right? You're trying to sell them something, and you have to now pretend that you're going to pitch to a CFO. That's your mindset now. You should pitch as if you were pitching to the financial person. Now, I'm not saying that that's the only person that's going to make a decision based on money, but if you look at it from a CFO standpoint, they're trying to justify your cost. In other words, whatever you're selling to them, they're trying to justify that price, or that, better said, investment. So in this course, Business Metrics for Salespeople, what I did was I took a step back in this course. And this course came about in a very interesting way. So let me slow down because I go too fast sometimes. One, you have to justify cost more than ever now to your buyers, right? So that's the big one. You have to justify the cost. Number two, why this course? I was years ago, I remember hearing a story, right? And I thought it was interesting because I fast forwarded and I actually put it in the video. And the story was that a gentleman was trying to get a VP of sales position, right? He was trying to come in as a VP of sales. And during the interview, one of the C-suite executives went up to the board during the interview, stopped the interview, went up to the board, erased the board, and said to the VP of sales, go up there and draw me out a profit and loss statement, an income statement, right? Just go up there and draw me a P&L statement. Now think about that for a second. You're put on the spot, person erases the board, says, go ahead and draw me just a typical P&L statement. Could you do it? Could you do it? I have an MBA. I know I can do it, but can you do it? And I started thinking about, can the average salesperson write a P&L? If I asked you right now on the spot, put up a P&L, could you do it? And the way the story goes, he actually went up there, drew out a general P&L, and got the job. But more importantly is understanding a P&L is understanding a company's business, understanding how they make money and what the costs associated with that business. So again, step back. You're a salesperson. You have a solution. It could be a very complex solution. It could be something as simple as a pool. It could be something as complex as, I don't know, a new data center, right? $2-3 million, whatever it may be. And so all of a sudden you have to go in there and now you have to justify the cost of that product. How do you do it? There's different ways. I'm going to talk about B2B and also B2C. And I pulled a P&L statement, just so you'll know what I'm talking about. This is like an Apple a few years ago, if you want to check this out. So this is an Apple statement, and here you have year over year, right? Kind of numbers here. So this is what a P&L statement, also known as an income statement, looks like, right? And so all of a sudden you got total revenue there, you got gross profit there, you got operating income there, you got non-recurring events there, and then you got net income right down there. That's what a typical profit income statement looks like. And it's very fascinating because there's a lot of detail in here. When you look at operating expenses, for example, check this out. Research and development, selling, general and administration, also known as SG&A, right? Non-recurring, only happened one time. These are different costs that you have to kind of keep in mind. And I think it's important to kind of understand how these charts work because this is next level selling. Do you understand what I'm saying? This is next level selling. The average salesperson has figured out how to prospect, how to, have meetings, do demos, propose, and close, right? But during those conversations, especially during the presentation, the justification and proposal part, what if you actually knew how to talk about money, income from the client's perspective? And so I wanted to show you this so you can kind of get an idea of what an income statement looks like. And I want to highlight what's in the course. Let me step back. And do I want you to buy the Sales Velocity Academy course? Of course I do. But there's a reason, because I want you to really level up your game because it's more than ever necessary when you're talking and you're selling a big ticket item. So in this one course alone, there's over 50 courses, over 500 videos. But in this course alone, these are all the different modules. There's 23 video modules. And as you can see, if you look at it closely, you see, first of all, understanding business metrics right there, something basic, right? The 5 M's that value impact. And I go into, if you're in manufacturing, you'll love this part, right? But also, if you don't understand fixed and variable costs, I go through that. But here's somewhat, straight line depreciation. Most people don't really think about that. How do you calculate salvage value, right? How do you calculate salvage value? And let me just come back to this. And so how do you calculate salvage value? How about this? Explanation of amortization, right? That's an interesting one. Explanation of amortization. Again, net income pipeline, cost of goods sold, EBITDA, earnings before interest tax, right? Depreciation, amortization, a real good thing to know how to calculate. P&Ls, I'm going to talk about these three right here. There's so many to talk about. There's return on assets. Not going to touch that one right now. So I want to talk about three basic ones. I think every salesperson should know these three basics, which is break-even point right here, return on investment, and total cost of ownership. To me, those are table stakes. Everybody should know how to actually calculate that. So what I want to do is just take, again, a little time to go through that. Let me get back to my blank screen here. And what I want to do is just help you calculate that, just to get you familiar with how this works. Again, not magic. You can find us on the internet, but I want to drive these 3 home. And again, there's a set of these different metrics that you can use when selling your product to be more effective. So let's begin with the first one. And before I begin with the first one, let me go full screen here again. Before I begin with the actual first metric, let's think about selling. And selling is the following, that you have to kind of consider that the customer right now is anxious. You guys have seen, if you followed me long enough, you've seen this. There's certainty. I don't know, my board is acting weird. There's certainty, and then there's anxiety, right? There's certainty and anxiety. That's the balance, certainty and anxiety, right? And our job is when we're talking to a customer and we're trying to sell them something that they're uncomfortable with, there's some anxiety. And if there's an equal amount of certainty and anxiety, we've talked about this, they're not going to make a buying decision. What is our job? Is to increase the what? The certainty and lower the what? The anxiety. Increase certainty, lower the anxiety. So how do you increase certainty? By showing them metrics, helping them understand how they're going to benefit. How do you reduce the anxiety? By documenting it, quantifying the actual value. Let's walk through it. Let's walk through the first metric. The first one, I think it's a real easy one to understand, which is return. Hopefully this thing's not going to act. This is really acting up, guys, so I can't. You know what I'm going to do? If you guys don't mind, I'm going to have to fire this down and restart it because that's the only way this is going to work. So hold on one second. I want to see if I can restart this thing because my tech is non-teching me right now. Hold on one second. It'll take a moment to fire this bad boy up, if you'll allow me. By the way, in the meantime, I'll take questions. I just got to restart this thing because it's just going to keep doing this clickety click thing. It's not going to work well. So I'm going to end the session right here. And let me see if it gives me a new board. Let's see if the magic happens. Come back again. Let me see if it's behaving. Not behaving, which means I'm going to do this live, guys. I'm going to do this live. So I'm going to shut her down and reboot her. You get to see this. Restart right there. Okay. I've never had to do this live. That's kind of cool, actually. But anyway, so I want to go through these metrics, these numbers, to see if they make sense to you. So I'm going to cover 3. By the way, in the meantime, what metrics, when you're trying to justify numbers, what metrics do you guys use? When you're trying to justify a number, what metrics do you use? Because I'm curious to find out. I'm going to cover 3 again, the return on investment, the break-even point, and the total cost of ownership. And if I were to ask you which of the 3, return on investment, break-even point, or total cost of ownership, which one do you think the client worries about most? Return on investment, break-even point, or total cost of ownership? I know you guys, some of you guys know what I'm talking about already. So you tell me, which one do you think is the big one? I'm going to help you out. And hopefully my board's going to behave. All right. Let me see. Behave. It's behaving. All right. Cool. Clear. So let's begin with return on investment. Oh, it's beautiful when it works. We got profit, right, minus cost divided by what? Cost, right? Right? Profit minus cost divided by cost. And so what the customer wants to know is, how much am I going to make if I invest this amount of money? And I think this is a simple metric. Some of you guys are writing ROI, break even. Interesting. That's not the one I would have guessed. I would have guessed total cost of ownership, and I'm going to explain why. I think it's one of the biggest ones that stops us from buying things, or customers from buying things. So return on investment, and by the way, whatever that number is, you multiply it by 100 and you'll get a percentage. And again, every customer wants to calculate or will measure their own return on investment, how much they expect. Now, keep in mind that when a customer invests, you guys know this already, I'm going through the basics. If I invested in something, I'm expecting a certain return on investment. Let's say that that return on investment is, 10% year over year. I'm making up a number here, right? There's also something called an opportunity cost. And the opportunity cost is the investment alternative. In other words, Victor, I could invest in your stuff, or I can do something else with this money that will probably give me this much money. So a customer is always balancing those two out. Profit, return on investment, whatever percentage return I'm going to get, but also there's the opportunity cost investment on this side. This is the easiest one to calculate. Again, how much do you think they'll make over the long run? What's it going to cost them divided by the cost? Nothing magical here. This is an easy one to calculate. This one is, again, very basic for everybody. But let's look at break-even point. Now, I think return on investment is great, but my second favorite in terms of importance, I'm going third importance, it's ROI. Second level of importance, I personally think, is break-even point. So a break-even point basically means how fast am I going to get my money back? That's what I want to know. How fast am I going to get my money back? So I'll take whatever my fixed cost is, right? Also known as my investment, my sales price minus my variable cost. Now, I'm doing basic stuff here. Some of you get it already. Fixed costs are costs that never change, right? Every month you have to pay that. They're fixed. That's it. Variable costs fluctuate, like your gas bill or your light bill. That's variable cost, right? That's variable cost. So let's put this in the context that your customers will understand. So let's pretend for a moment that you're going to pay, I don't know, you're going to pay $10,000 to buy something. You're going to invest $10,000 to buy, let's say, I don't know, a system. You're going to buy a system for $10,000. I have a learning management platform. Let's say I invest $10,000 in my learning management platform. Then I decide that I'm going to charge sales price $1,000, right? That's not the real number, by the way. So $1,000. And then let's say that my variable costs, that these are costs that I'll just kind of estimate is going to be like $500. And then what I'll do is I'll calculate that's 10,000, right? 10,000 divided by 500. That means if I sell 20 units at the selling price of 1,000, I break even. I get my money back. That's kind of how it works. So you get the idea? It's how fast I got to sell 20 units. And if I did my numbers right, I think I did my number right. That's how long it'll take me. But if you take 50 times 20, you'll see that you'll get your money back. Does that make sense? Because that's all variable cost is. Another way of looking at it, if I can erase this, make sure I got that right. If I can erase this right here for you. Let's say you're doing an air conditioning system, right? And I did this all the time for the air conditioning guys. If somebody's trying to sell you a $6,000 unit, very basic, and it's going to save you over, I don't know, let's say every month is going to save you $100 per month. That means, basically, if I take that right there and that right there, in 60 months, I'll get my money back. I'll break even. 60 months is really 5 years. Again, basic numbers. If I can tell a customer there is a return on investment, and by the way, here's how fast you're going to get your money back. And again, you can use these calculations, very basic, right? Here's how fast you're going to get your money back. These are two easy metrics to put down. Again, very basic. Will they move the needle? Maybe. But I think the one that holds people back from buying, of all the metrics I talk about in my course, the one that I think really holds a lot of people back from buying is the third one. And the third one is pure fear. The third one is it's irrational, it's based on pure fear. Because here's what happened. It's total cost of ownership. And total cost of ownership means you pay a certain price or cost for that product. And then, here's the thing. There's other associated costs, 1 through N plus. In other words, there's more costs associated. Said another way, I buy the system for $10,000, right? But then maybe there's maintenance costs. I mean, think about this for a second. Somebody sells you a software package, $10,000. Now, you install it. Perfect. But then you realize that you have to get, for example, some new servers because it won't run on that platform, right? Or something. You don't have enough, processing power. So now you have to buy, let's say you might have to buy some hardware. So that's going to be another $5,000. Again, just throwing numbers out there. You also find out that every year, if there's any upgrades, that you don't get those upgrades, right? So now you may have to pay for that upgrades, right? So any future upgrades, you might have to pay, let's say, $500 per year. Also, if something goes wrong with the software, you get the first 3 months of maintenance free, but maybe there's a maintenance contract or maintenance service contract associated with that, which means now there's a maintenance contract. So that could be, I don't know, $1,000 a year. Do the costs stop there? Do the costs stop there? That's the question. Do the costs stop there? The answer is probably not. Why? Where's some more costs? Give me some more costs. Can you think of more costs? I'll give you an easy one. It's a new software, which means I have to what? Train people. Now, I got 20 people who are going to use the platform. Well, I got to take them all out of the factory, so to speak, and train them for a whole day. So I have 20 people that cost me, I'll just say, I don't know, $500 a day. That's an additional cost, right? That's a cost. What else am I missing in that cost structure? The opportunity cost. Because remember, I took them off the factory floor. That's a full day times 20 of productivity loss. There's a cost associated with that. We'll just call that X. That's the cost. Is that all? Is that all? Integration with other systems, Brian says? Absolutely. You find out you need this integration with other systems, so now you have to bring in a tech and pay for that. What else is going to go on? You train them. There's also errors. This is an interesting one because if I bring people on to train for the first time, is it going to be error-free? Is the transfer going to be? No. So there's another X cost. We'll call that the error cost. And they want to know what's that going to be impact. If I got to move data over, what's it going to cost to port the data over? Now, I'm going on, and we can probably keep going, and we can find all these costs. But what's important about this one over return on investment and break-even point is that in this case, the customer, this is what they're really scared. See, when we talk about, when we talk about the iceberg effect, right? I always say that the big problems are down here. See, I think ROI and break-even point are up here. But I think total cost of ownership is below the waterline. And that's what holds people back. And I want you to keep that in mind. It's the cost. It's like in cable. We always talk about this. Cable TV, even something as simple as a B2C type of approach. It's not so much the price of cable, it's the cost associated with me taking a day off, scheduling, returning my box, canceling my contract, so forth and so on. It's the cost underneath. This is what customers truly worry about. And so I wanted to highlight that for you because these are just 3 of many metrics you can use to persuade a customer. But the most important one, in my opinion, is this right here. And if you know what all the hidden costs are, and you can find a way to communicate that and position it with the customer, you'll be able to reduce some of that resistance. And those are the 3 things I want to share with you. Again, in there's like, for example, EBITDA might be one that you might want to use. Return on assets might be another one. Salvage value might be another one that helps you with your argument. So when you get a chance, go to the Sales Velocity Academy.com and check out that one course. And again, I'm telling you, that course is almost like a mini MBA when it comes to pricing and strategies. This one only talks about the different metrics. There's another program in there that's called Pricing Strategies. You take pricing strategies with the business metrics, you're going to be a different type of salesperson. Again, what we need to do, you and I, as salespeople in this market, we know that the real place that people win today in the market, the evolution of selling is changing. The simple sales are going away. They're going online. Amazon and anybody else is grabbing them online. People who do complex sale, by complex sale I mean it's not cheap. You just can't buy it off the internet. You have to have somebody install it or do it for you or explain it to you. I'm talking about complex sales. For example, I want to be clear. If you're buying an HVAC, which is HVAC for your home, I still consider that a complex sale because you have to buy the right unit for the right house. Not too small, not too big. Depending on the duct system, you have to talk to somebody. You just can't buy one and have somebody plop it in the back, right? And then there's the installation and the running of it, right? So that also is a complex sale. But then you move up the complexity food chain, and then now you have large, a fiber optic network, right? Across 3 states, total complex sale. And again, the customer's thinking, what's it going to cost me? I get the return on investment. Okay, break-even point, got that. But what's it really going to cost me? Because that's what I'm worried about. I want to understand if it's going to cost me a lot of money to do this and a lot of time, how do I quantify that? And how do I quantify it in a way that I can justify it to my bosses? Because that's the trick. That's the hat trick today. Is that if you look at your knowledge base, where we have to be today to sell more effectively, is that you have to understand your products. We know this already. You have to understand your products, right? You also have to understand the market. And the market includes everything that's happening, right? Your competitors, pricing strategies, comparative analysis, all that stuff. But the one that we hardly consider, that I think is now going to gain value, is this third one right here, and this is business acumen. And business acumen is business smart. In other words, look, when you start talking return on assets, EBITDA, right? Total cost of ownership, salvage value, whatever it may be, profit and loss statements, income statement, net income, SG&A, all that. When you start talking like that, you're talking to the C-level now. You're talking to decision makers. You're talking to business owners. You're talking at that level. And when they see that you understand the language, they see you differently. They don't see you as a salesperson. They see you more as a sales consultant or business consultant. That's the shift that we have to make. Understanding the product, got it. Need to do that? Check that box. Understanding the market, got it. Check that box, or circle in this case. But this is where I think a lot of people in sales are missing it. For us to sell more effectively in business, we have to understand business. And that is all I had on this Sales After Dark. Business metrics, again, go to salesvelocityacademy.com, check it out. And now I'm going to take some questions. And I know there's a lot of stuff going through here, so I'm just going to try to go back and do it. Let me see where I can. A lot of you guys said ROI and break even. I didn't see it. Yeah. Bob, let me just start here with Martin says break even. Lupus says return on investment. ROI, but increasing more. Total cost of ownership. I'm with you. All that accountability on SIP. Let me see. Gator, there we go. Let me see. We got here. By the way, that account, I don't know what that, you love so you love that one. Huh? That was the Sam Silverstein interview, the Sales Influence podcast. It's a great interview. I'm telling you, the guy's got energy, man. And I want you guys to watch the Sales Influence podcast, the Sam Silverstein one, because there's a couple of times where I just kept like nudging him, and finally, man, Sam just lets go, man. He just really goes in, man. And so I thought it was interesting. Yeah, you got the training part. Integration with other systems, training, yes, you got it. Carlos Castro, thank you for joining. Lost productivity during implementation. I mentioned that one. Ooh, Ahmed Noor, technical issues, unforeseen circumstances, right? In other words, when you're implementing a certain project, you know what's your level of confidence that it's going to go in right the first time? And if it's not going to be perfect, what are some of the delays that we can expect? Perfect answer, man. Perfect answer. Sales Velocities Academy, complete library, categories, pricing strategies. You got it. I think it's in the advanced. By the way, I think it's in the advanced. I think it's the advanced or the mastery. It's foundational, mastery, and advanced. Or the other way around. Foundational, mastery, advanced, and then mastery. There you go. Fam. Sparrow's Tail, good to hear from you. John, thank you for joining me, man. Let me see. Chris Stone, this is critical info to know when selling to the CFO. This is what this is all about. It's how do you sell to decision makers, whether it's purchasing, CFOs, but really when you're selling to the C-suite, how do we sound more intelligent? I mean, that's where we need to be. This is not that hard to do. Marcello, just sending out to Chris Stone a hi there. Team Live, there you go. Ahmed, what do you got? Question, Victor, what's your biggest advice for sales leaders? Well, that's a big question, Ahmed. It depends on what aspect of, if I'm a sales leader, I want my salespeople to be trained well. So my biggest advice is always be training. Too bad it's not ABC, right? Always be training, ABT. And that is because, sometimes we just train salespeople once and then we just send them out into the field. I think coaching is becoming more important, Ahmed, than training. By the way, I'm not dismissing training. I still think you need it, but I think the coaching, the role playing, and really working one-on-one with a salesperson is becoming more and more important. I think when you see the turnover, the attrition in the market today, salespeople leaving companies, is because they're failing and they feel like their management is not supporting them or not giving them enough time, really nurturing them and bringing them along. So training is good, but too often, I mean, come on, let's be honest. You can go to my salesvelocityacademy.com and get all the training you want, but coaching is like a custom suit, right? Tailored just for you. And I think it's becoming very difficult, especially if you're an enterprise company where you have so many salespeople, which is why I see, Ahmed, a lot of companies using, teams of 3. In other words, the manager will train 3 people or coach 3 people at a time and work with, a set of 3s. And so that's another way of kind of trying to scale your coaching. So it's the biggest challenge, but I think it's where you're going to get the highest ROI. And by ROI, I don't mean they're going to sell more, is that you're going to keep them, you're going to retain them. They're not going to go to another company because, the costs vary. Ahmed, you lose a salesperson today, what does it cost? What did you lose? How much money did you lose? First of all, there's cost, and then there's opportunity cost. And some people put the cost at $50,000 to $100,000, but that really depends on the number and the opportunities that we're working on. So trying to keep people in is the best. Retention is powerful. Marcello says, better late than never. Absolutely, man. Glad you're here. Victor, I saw an article that listed business consultant as the top 10 non-essential jobs. I thought that was ridiculous. I would appreciate your opinion and commentary on this. It depends on the business consultant. I think where the article is coming from, Sparrow's Tail, and I don't know without reading the article. This is my finger to the wind hypothetical. I'm guessing, okay? But when I see something like that, it's because there are companies out there that have started business consulting companies and like a franchise. Do you know what I mean? I don't know if you've seen, I don't want to mention any names, but there's franchise business consulting companies. And I've met some of these business consultants that bought a franchise license to become a business consultant. And unfortunately, the ones I've met, I'm not trying to generalize, I'm just saying the ones I've met had no real business experience. And I think companies have become very cynical because a lot of these business consultants, they're good at consulting, but they don't understand business, right? They love to tell you what to do, but they've never done it themselves. And so I really think, it's not that it's a non-essential job. I personally think you got to find the right consultant to work with. So I don't know if that's an answer, but there it is, man. Watch it on the replay, Marcello. Watch it on the replay. We'll watch this on the replay. Master VA, sorry, not point. I'm kind of lost. That's okay, man. Watch it on the replay. It's not that hard, TJ. It's really about, again, when you're talking to clients, you need to talk numbers with them, right? Return on investment. How much, if I invest this much, how much will I get back in terms of percentages, right? Second one, break-even point. If I invest this much, how fast? Now we're looking at time, not percentage. How fast will I get my money back? Third one, total cost of ownership. What's it really going to cost me if I buy this product from you? I want to understand the full cost. And you're doing that, you're explaining that to the customer what the full total costs are because you want to what? Reduce that anxiety and let them feel comfortable. And that's kind of the highlights right there. Let me see. Pricing strategies listed in the Mastery course. Thank you very much. Bob Barnett, great point. Absolutely. TJ, I don't like classroom training. Very boring. Trainers should be experienced salespeople as well. I think so. You prefer Victor Antonio. I dig you for that. Ahmed said, thank you for that. And so, again, let me, because I got to jump off. My half hour is almost over. I got one more. Sparrowstel says, thank you for clarification. I didn't realize that people pretending to be skilled business. Yeah, I'll pop this up so everybody can see it. Thank you for the clarification. I didn't realize that people pretending to be skilled business people were running around like that. Shows my naivety. No, it's not about being naive. You just didn't know. But there are companies out there that have, I'd rather listen to somebody who is currently has a business and is running their own business than a person who bought a franchise license and wants to give me advice as a business owner. So that's how I would look at it. On that note, man, final thoughts for the evening. What I would do is I would really think about, do I understand the language of numbers? Do I understand the metrics? And can I speak to somebody at a C level? In other words, if tomorrow you got an interview, or you had a meeting, and you're going to go in there and talk to a C-level person, do you feel comfortable talking about those metrics? And they're not that hard to learn. You kind of got to go through them. But once you get them in your head, once you understand where they fit, not that you're going to use all these different metrics, but you start to get this constellation of metrics that you're going to use all the time as part of your presentation. Think how much different you're going to sound than the other salesperson who he goes in there and he's asked a question. So based on what you're selling us, what's the ROI on that? Well, it really depends on, ROI, that could be anything. Or, what's the total cost of ownership when I'm really looking at an investment, right? What's the break-even point? Imagine that salesperson not being able to answer it. Imagine you being able not only to answer it, but to position it in such a way with confidence. Mr. Customer, when we talk about return on investment, here's what we're talking about. And based on these case studies, here's what we found. In terms of break-even point, really depends, but here, I'll give you a range based on metrics. And then total cost of ownership, let's really dig into that one because I understand your concerns. Your concern is beyond the price, beyond the investment. What's it really going to cost us and how is it going to impact our business? We've done the research. We know what this is. Let me walk you through it. Now you sound totally different than your average salesperson who says, yeah, it's great. It's a great product. It saves people a lot of money, and I think you're going to love it. So do you want to be different? I think so. So by understanding these metrics, again, you're going to sound more powerful. You're going to be able to actually have a more persuasive conversation. And on that note, I don't think I have anything else. I'm going to wrap this up. I tried to do it in a half hour. Sorry for the technical difficulty on the board, but stuff happens. Anyway, this is Victor Antonio with another Sales After Dark, reminding you, selling ain't hard when you know how. Take care. Have a great night. Bye.